Every day, we hear the same hopeful promise from politicians, economists, CEOs, and news anchors. When the economy grows, everyone benefits. It sounds reassuring, almost comforting. Like the universe has a built-in fairness mechanism that distributes prosperity automatically. GDP rises, jobs appear, salaries go up, businesses flourish, opportunities multiply, and all boats rise with the tide. The idea is simple. The idea feels right. The idea creates hope. And yet, when you look at history honestly, when you rewind the story from the Industrial Revolution to the digital age, you discover something deeply unsettling. Economic growth does not automatically make everyone richer. In fact, in many eras, economies surged while ordinary people fell behind. The myth survives not because it is true, but because it serves those who benefit most from it. Imagine a busy modern city at rush hour. Skyscrapers glowing, trading floors buzzing, office towers filled with activity. From the outside, everything looks prosperous: movement, energy, velocity. But step into the life of a factory worker, a single mother, a delivery driver, or a young graduate drowning in debt, and a different story emerges. Their rent rises faster than their wages. Their food costs go up even when companies report record profits. Their productivity increases while their earnings stagnate. The economy grows, yet their lives do not. This contradiction is not an accident. It is the defining feature of economic systems built as pyramids, not as webs. To understand why the myth persists, you have to rewind to the moment it was born. During the Industrial Revolution, factories, railroads, steel, coal, and mechanization transformed entire countries. Output exploded, technology surged, and GDP soared. But the people who powered that growth worked 14-hour days, lived in overcrowded slums, and died young. Child labor was normal. Workplace injuries were routine. Wages were low. Wealth concentrated overwhelmingly into the hands of factory owners and capitalists. The economy grew spectacularly, but the majority struggled more than ever. Growth did not trickle down. It pooled at the top, now traveled to the early 20th century. Nations industrialized further. Productivity climbed, and yet inequality rose. It took wars, political movements, labor unions, and massive structural reform before ordinary people finally secured a share of the wealth they helped create. Democracy didn't produce fairness automatically. Growth didn't distribute prosperity by itself. People had to fight for it. Then come the post-war years, the so-called golden age of capitalism, from the late 1940s through the 1970s. Something rare happened. Economic growth and shared prosperity aligned. Wages rose with productivity. The middle class expanded. Education, healthcare, and housing became more accessible. Inequality narrowed. But this period was not normal. It was an anomaly, created by unique conditions. Rebuilding after a global war, strong unions, regulated finance, high taxes on corporations, and massive public investment. When those conditions ended, the alignment broke. Now fast forward to the last 40 years. Productivity keeps rising. Technology accelerates. Markets globalize. The economy grows faster than ever. But the incomes of ordinary workers stagnate. The wealthy accumulate unprecedented fortunes. CEOs earn hundreds of times more than employees. Asset prices explode: houses, stocks, land, patents, data, intellectual property, while wages fail to keep pace. Growth continues, but its benefits become top-heavy, distributed through channels available only to those with capital, education, and access. For many people, it feels like standing on a treadmill, running faster, achieving more, but staying in place while others soar ahead. And yet the myth continues, echoed in speeches, reports, and textbooks. If the economy grows, everyone wins. But the truth is more uncomfortable. The structure of the economy, not its growth, determines who benefits. Picture pouring water onto the ground. If the soil is flat, the water spreads evenly. If the soil is sloped, everything flows downhill into one place. An economy works the same way. Growth pours in like water. But inequality, policy, power, and institutions decide where it goes. Growth is not a rising tide, it is rainfall. Fairness depends entirely on the landscape beneath it. This is why two countries can grow at the same rate while one population thrives and the other deteriorates. Why some sectors produce billionaires while others produce exhaustion. Why technology can enrich a few founders and investors while automating away the jobs of millions. Why globalization can lower prices for consumers while destroying entire communities. Why the stock market can soar while the real lives of workers stagnate. So what does growth really do? It expands the economic pie, but it does not cut it. It creates potential, but not distribution. It generates wealth, but not fairness. The myth is attractive because it simplifies responsibility. It suggests that as long as the economy grows, the system is working and no deeper change is needed. But history shows the opposite. Every time inequality reaches extreme levels, societies fracture politically, socially, culturally, and economically. Growth without fairness is gasoline poured on dry soil. But here comes the twist that most people never hear. Growth can benefit everyone, but only when institutions are deliberately designed to share the gains. Strong labor markets, fair tax systems, broad access to education, affordable housing, public investment, worker protections. A balance between capital and labor. These are the invisible mechanisms that determine whether growth becomes prosperity or disparity. In other words, growth is not the hero. Distribution is. And distribution is a choice made by governments, institutions, corporations, and voters. The myth persists because it is comforting. It gives people a sense that the system is self-correcting, that patience will be rewarded, that work will eventually pay off. But hope is not a strategy. And blind faith in growth is not economics, it is storytelling. People prosper not because the economy grows, but because power, policy, and opportunity allow them to participate in that growth meaningfully. If this episode changed how you see economic progress, consider subscribing to the Economic Rewind Vault, not for the channel's sake, but because every new episode helps you see the world with sharper clarity. And clarity is a form of wealth no one can take from you. In the next episode of Money Myths Rewind, we confront a belief that defines modern money itself. Your salary equals your worth. But behind those numbers hides a truth that rewrites both economics and identity. You won't want to miss it. See you in the next Rewind.